What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Pens and Tea. My name is Carrie, and today we're going to be talking about a Pom Cider flavored tea and the TWSBI Classic. So this tea is out right now from David's Tea as part of their fall line. So you should be able to still get it for probably another month or two, probably until their Christmas collection comes out or their holiday collection comes out. This is a black tea. It says, take your cider game to the next level with this fruity mix of black tea, apple, fennel, and a twist of pomegranate. It's amazing hot, iced, and all year round. And the ingredients are fennel, hibiscus, black tea, rose hips, apple, orange, pomegranate, stevia extract, and natural pomegranate flavor. I really enjoy this. This wouldn't be one that I would probably go for every single time because it's significantly different from what I normally would gravitate towards. Which I think is a good thing. This has definitely a pomegranate flavor, but it's a bit of a tart tea. So I do actually put a little bit of sugar into this one when I'm drinking it hot. When you ice it, a lot of that tartness goes away, which is a common theme for most of the tart flavors that you can ice. I don't exactly know why that happens. It just does. This basically has extraordinarily low caffeine, which is nice because it's a black tea and most black teas are higher in the caffeine content, but this one is very low. You basically can take 1 to 2 perfect teaspoons, aka a teaspoon, into boiling water and let it steep for about 4 to 7 minutes. I actually let mine steep for probably 3 to 4 when I drink it hot. Just because the longer you let it steep, the more tart the tea will become. But if you're icing it, then I actually let it steep for pretty much ever. I just leave the leaves in while I'm drinking it. So it's totally up to you. But I would recommend it. I really enjoy it. The Pom Cider, pomegranate cider, pretty much is exactly what it tastes like. If you like the taste of pomegranate, then you will probably like this tea. Yeah, even just smelling it, you definitely smell the pomegranate. So I really like it. I would recommend it. Like I said, hot or cold. I kind of wish that this one was available all year round, not just a fall limited edition, because I think that would be a really good tea for the summer as well. But I guess they wanted to do kind of something different than an apple cider, which is done by pretty much every tea company this time of year. So good job, David's Tea. Price-wise, for 50 grams of tea, you're looking at $8.98. So I like it. I'll probably be picking up more before they disappear into the ether of David's Tea. But with that tea today, I have paired the TWSBI Classic. This one in particular is the burgundy finish. It's got the normal TWSBI logo there, and like all TWSBIs, it is a piston fill. But unlike most TWSBIs, it's not a demonstrator. So it is completely solid. The clip has pretty decent spring to it. It's kind of stiff, so you do have to physically pull a little bit, but it's probably a good thing, so that way when it's clipped onto whatever it is that you've got going, it's not going to fall off or anything like that. You got some metal bands around the end of the cap here. Just continues right into the rest of the body, and then the metal piston filling knob that you will twist and turn. You're going to notice that there's 2 rings here. These are actually rubber rings. And what makes it super convenient is when you go to post the pen, the cap will adhere to those rubber rings so that it's unlikely that you're going to twist the piston knob by accident and cause an ink explosion everywhere. So I'm glad that they thought that. To open it, it's basically a twist turn and just pulls right off. And you can see here there is an ink window, which I'm basically almost out of ink. But there is an ink window, so that's nice. It lets you know when you're getting pretty darn close to the end. And as you can see here, there's a little bit of a step down from the body to the grip section. So the grip section is obviously more narrow than the body. I actually wish that this wasn't the case. I do wish that the grip section was the girth of the body. The grip section is a little too narrow for my liking now. When I first got the pen, I preferred narrow grip sections, so it was perfect for me. But my tastes have grown as I have grown in the hobby. So I do wish it was a little bit bigger now. But that said, the grip section is large enough where all my fingers, regardless of where I hold it, will actually be on that grip section. So I'm not holding the threads at all. The threads are very minimal, so you definitely don't feel them. You don't know that they're there. If anything, you're gonna feel that step up before you would feel the threads. And then you have a little metal ring just where the grip section ends that goes to the nib unit itself. So I alluded earlier that you can post the pen. Just kind of pushes on right there, and it will stay right where the knob ends. So this is literally where it posts. It doesn't go onto the body, so it just posts over the piston knob, which is why those rubber rings are there, so that there's no kind of like mess. You still could, if you physically turn the cap, move the piston knob and cause an explosion, but I wouldn't recommend it. I don't like it to be posted because it becomes back heavy for me, but I'm also sensitive to that because I never post any of my pens. So if you did have larger hands and, you know, towards the lid side of things rested in between your thumb and your pointer finger, then I think it would be balanced for you. But like I said, I like the way it fits in my hand unposted. It's a relatively long pen anyways, so I don't see any issue there. So body of the pen, I really like. There's no complaints. I love the way that it feels when you cap it. I love that sound. And it always, so there's like a square kind of finish to it here. And no matter what way you go and post the pen, it will always line up. And by post the pen, I mean thread the cap back on. It will always line up so that the edges here will always meet up with the cap, which is really nice. There's a little bit of planning on TWSBI's part, and I appreciate that. Otherwise, it would just drive me completely nuts. So the physical pen, which I just dropped onto my pad of paper, the physical pen is beautiful. I love the way it feels. It's like almost all TWSBI pens, it feels very solidly built. And I really like the way that that feels. And it's built phenomenally well. The nib is very much, again, like all of my other TWSBI pens, where I've had to work on it a little bit. So I've never had an issue as far as the smoothness of the nib, but they're always very dry, they're very tight, and they're very hard nibs. So it's basically like, you know, stiff. It's just super, super stiff. So I've had to work with pretty much every one of my TWSBIs except for the Eco to make them more wet. And it does depend when the nib is that dry. It depends pretty heavily upon how, like the ink that you put in it. So I don't really care for that. But then again, to make a nib wetter is significantly easier than trying to make a nib more dry. So if it's going to have an issue, that is one that I would prefer. Price point wise for these, for the US, you're looking basically about $50. Which isn't too shabby. Canada, I've seen it priced with different people anywhere from $65 to $80. Would I recommend it? Yeah, I probably would. Just know again that the nibs are going to be stiff and they're going to probably be dry. But the actual pen itself, I think is great. But I really do like the pen, and if you're interested in it at all, I would recommend it. And let's jump into the writing sample so I can show you a little bit more. All right, so once again, we have the TWSBI Classic. This is a medium steel nib, and it is filled with Waterman Audacious Red ink. So the pen itself is very, very smooth. I have worked with it a little bit to make it a little bit more wet. It's still not a gusher by any means. You know, I would say it's decently wet now. It is a little bit dependent upon the ink that you put in it. So I find Waterman works really well because they tend to be a little bit more liquidy as far as the ink is concerned. So I do tend to put more of a wet ink into this pen now. Because it is a little bit dry, but it's very smooth. I've never had any issues with that. I've never had any issues with hard starts or skipping or anything of the sort. It is a very stiff nib, so you definitely won't really be able to get much line variation out of it. Basically, you're just going to get a little bit more of an ink pool. You're not really going to get an actual variation. And reverse writing is unreliable. So you can get about one word where it works, and then you're going to start getting spotty from there on out. And like I said, I've never really had any issues with skipping or hard starts or anything like that. So it is a really nice nib. Like I said, it's very smooth. It's just very stiff. So if you don't like stiff nibs, this would not be a good choice for you. But if you don't mind stiff nibs, and you still want one that's, you know, very smooth, then this would be a perfect choice for you. I like it. Like I said, I would recommend it. And yeah, guys, that's probably about it for me today. If you liked the video and you want to see more, please hit that subscribe button. New videos go up every Monday and Friday and the occasional Tuesday. Don't be afraid of the comment section. I read them all and I try and answer them all as soon as I can. And while you're down there, just hit that thumbs up button. And as always, I will see you next time. Bye.